Hey folks, everything new under the sun. This article is from Zero Hedge, and we've spoken about supply chain issues, economic troubles, all related to the four horsemen of the apocalypse, which is specific to the third seal being broken, the black horse, Revelation 6 verses 5 and 6, the balance scales, huge inflation, so the price, the cost of food increases significantly. And the oil and wine spared. Now, in a couple of videos ago, we spoke about what the oil and wine mean. There's a literal recognition and understanding or definition of those words. And there is the spiritual side of it as well. Those who have the oil in them have the Holy Spirit in them. So the Christians are spared, possibly. But anyways, it does speak to economic trouble, supply chain issues. We've been speaking about supply chain issues for a long time. And I've been saying, get ready. Stock up. If you want to buy something that's coming from China, get it now. That time is closing now. I'll say that it's a warning that the time for purchasing, parts, if you need some parts or extra oil, extra things for your machinery, get them now. If you need an extra keyboard or mouse for your computer, get them now. You may not be able to get them very quickly. Shipping costs are going up on Amazon, as I spoke about yesterday. And things will become more scarce. And the Bank of Canada is indeed warning of that very thing. Now, I didn't know how this would come along. I didn't know what would cause it, whether it would be a worldwide collapse that stopped supply chains in their tracks, or whether it would be a slow-moving train wreck, and we ourselves would even cause some of this trouble. At the end of the day, basically it was the pandemic and the lockdowns that triggered governments to lock down the whole world, which triggered all of this and the whole trucker outrage that's happening in Canada and around the world now. It's incredible to see massive amounts of money raised. The people are standing up, but they won't win. I read the end of the book. Eventually they succumb to world government, and so this is maybe going to be a little win. It'll be nice to have maybe a little bit of a reprieve this summer and enjoy summer with my young children who, for the last 2 years haven't known anything other than COVID lockdown restrictions, masks, and not being able to do what they want to because of this sickness, which, the death rate amongst kids is minuscule. And it's like less than 1% for adults, unless you have some serious comorbidity like diabetes. And so we've all lost 2 years of our lives because of the choice that governments made. And you could argue at the start that it was our fault. We were trusting the scientists and the government was trusting the scientists. But their goal and the doctors, their goal is just to save every single person. And the goal of our life on earth is not to live as long as we possibly can. I don't read that in the Bible. That's not the point of life. The point of life is to recognize that Jesus Christ died on the cross for my sin and your sin, and he's coming again soon to judge the world and judge sin, and to tell other people about it. That's the Great Commission. So let's take a look at this article. But again, this maybe the supply chain issue is it is exacerbated by the trucking, the blockades that are happening. Bank of Canada warns very distressing blockade could impact economy. Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem explained this afternoon that the Ambassador Bridge blockage, which is still ongoing, several other border blockades in progress right now as well. The Canadian people are standing up all over Canada, and the rest of the world is with Canada because as this goes, I think a lot of other nations will go as well, simply due to the pressure. And I know there is a truckers convoy planned in the U.S. as well, to go to Washington, D.C. But he said the disruption at the busiest commercial crossing between U.S. and Canada could further strain supply chains. Macklem's concern comes as the central banker has signaled the future path of interest rate increases this year. He said it's time to raise interest rates, which I believe is a bluff. They can't raise it very much. Any significant amount will be too much of a shock for everybody who has $500,000 mortgages and will have to keep payments on that. The last year has seen skyrocketing house prices. People have been getting massive mortgages because the interest rates are so low. And as soon as they go up, they won't be able to afford them. You're going to see massive defaults and mortgages defaulting, houses being sent back to the, owned by the bank effectively, and people out of houses. And that would be significant civil troubling, cause civil collapse as well. But again, this is adding to the supply chain issues that the pandemic has already caused troubles with. Stuff is already taking longer. You talk about 2-day shipping on Amazon, that's harder to find. Stuff is just slow going. Truckers are, in the convoys. Truckers are blocking bridges, so goods and services are not being passed. And this is all of the government's making. If the government would listen to the people and be responsible and listen to the actual science and see what's happening on the ground, and maybe add some money for a few hospital beds, ICU beds, and hire some nurses, then we wouldn't be in this situation. So it's fully on the government. The government initiated it. The people went along with it for a long time. The people who weren't paying attention went along with it for a long time. But there was a few who were screaming about this since the start, and I was certainly one of them, tracking along with this, as many other YouTubers. And Canadians are starting to open their eyes and be aware of these things, and voices are coming out, because it was taboo to speak about anything bad about the lockdowns. If you speak anything bad against the lockdowns or what the government is doing, you don't love your neighbor. It's akin to wishing they were dead if you didn't go along with exactly what the government was saying. Well, we know now, especially with Omicron, that it's no worse than a cold, even much less a flu. So generally, with most people, it's simply a cold, and this is why we're wearing masks these days. We need to get back normal. Regardless, as I was saying, the Bank of Canada is now warning that this is going to trigger really bad supply chain issues. And again, if you haven't got what you needed, get some extra parts. Go in town, go to a physical store, buy some extra parts, buy an alternator, buy some belts for your lawn tractor. Get some jerry cans of gas, a little bit of extra storage. Buy some extra things. Food, cables, chargers, power supplies, just anything. Look around your house and see, what might I need in the future that might become scarce. And I think everything will become scarce, because everything is manufactured pretty much in China these days. And so if it's on the shelf now, you can buy it, and the price is still relatively reasonable. But soon enough, as supply and demand catches up, and truckers are not rolling, and bridges are blocked, and other issues are going around in the world, we haven't even had our massive cyber attacks yet, then you're going to find it hard to get parts. And back in the day, in 1929 and after the Great Depression, people got real good about fabricating their own parts, repairing their own cars, doing what they could with what they had. You talk about darning socks and putting patches in clothes. They had to do that because they couldn't buy new ones, or they couldn't afford new ones. So you're going to have to learn how to repair. So get parts on hand now. Buy a box of nails. You may not need it, but it might come in handy later, even if to barter, or if you have to fix your house after a natural disaster. Buy a box of screws. Buy some plywood. Buy some 2x4s. Have some extra lumber hanging around. You never know when you need a little piece to fix something here or there, and the price may skyrocket, or you may simply not be able to get it anymore. Get car repairs done if you need them. If you need your repairs in your car, good time to get them done sooner than later, so that should trouble come, your car is ready and doesn't need any major repairs. Same with your house. Now, it is hard. You may not have the money to do all those things, but do what you can. Get prepared. Buy some tools. If you can't afford the materials, at least buy some tools down the road. So if you need to make do, you can make do with what you got and use the tools to fabricate or patch up or do whatever you need to do. So again, economic trouble is coming. The Bible says it's coming. We're going to see a ramp up to this, and this is just a taste of what's coming. This is just, again, conditioning. I think this is a forewarning for all those who have their eyes open. The Lord's saying, look out, here's a taste of what's coming. And this is only a small taste of it. It's going to get far worse from here. Be prepared. And again, it's written in the Bible because God wanted us to know it's coming. That means he wanted us to be aware, not to be surprised, and to be ready for it and prepared for it, so that we can tell others why we're prepared. And we can say, well, I believe the Lord's coming back soon. I believe these things are going to get worse in the world. Violence is going to increase. supply chains are going to go down, or there's going to be significant economic troubles. And when those things do hit, you can say, look, I've got some food for you, but you know what? Let's pray together. I believe the Lord had me stock these things up just for a time as this, so that you and I could pray together and I could share the gospel of Christ with you. So these things are all planned. This is all within the Lord's will. He's allowing it to happen. And you need to get open your eyes and get prepared as much as you can. This is what all this has been for over the last several years. So pay attention. Get ready now. Go to your stores and get small things. I'm not saying buy everything in the world and the kitchen sink, but get small things you might need over the next 2 years to repair what you have. I think that's going to come in handy. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll leave it there. We'll see you in the next video.